Imagine someone sliding a contract across the table worth $500 million. $500 million. Enough money to buy islands, private jets, entire cities, whatever you can dream of. Now imagine someone looking at that number, taking a quiet breath, and saying one simple word, no. Sounds unbelievable, right? But that's exactly the kind of headline that exploded around Johnny Depp recently. And the most surprising part? The reason behind it is something nobody expected. That's why people online are still arguing, still analyzing, and still trying to figure out what's going on. And honestly, if you've been following Johnny's journey these last few years, you're not the only one. Millions have been watching closely. The ups, the downs, the comeback, the art shows, the quiet life he's rebuilding piece by piece. Fans know something big is happening with him, and this new story just added fuel to the fire. An offer worth hundreds of millions, and a decision that shocked everyone. So today, we're diving into what's actually going on. Not the exaggerated gossip, not the wild fan theories, but a clear, simple breakdown of the real story behind this massive offer, why insiders claim Johnny turned it down, and what this moment actually tells us about the man he has become. And trust me, the most surprising detail doesn't come until the very end, so stay with me because it all connects. Let's start from the beginning, where this unbelievable $500 million number even came from. Because when people saw it appear online, most of them thought it was fake. But the truth is, after Johnny's enormous public support post-trial, multiple studios really did push huge numbers toward him. And one of those rumored deals was more than just a movie. It was a long-term commitment. Multiple projects. Special appearances. Franchise revivals tied directly to his legacy. Basically, come back. Bring your magic. Bring your audience. And we'll pay you like a king. And fans looked at that number and said the same thing, yeah, that's insane. But if anyone deserves it, it's him. So naturally, people assumed Johnny would accept. Why wouldn't he? It was enormous. It was historic. It was the kind of offer Hollywood almost never gives out. Studios don't gamble that big unless they truly believe in someone's global impact. And Johnny's impact, even after everything, is undeniable. But then the twist came. Multiple insiders started whispering something unexpected. They said Johnny wasn't interested. They said he walked away. They said the money didn't matter. And suddenly the internet went wild trying to figure out why. This is where things get more human. Because his reason, the reason people around him claim he said no, had nothing to do with money at all. It had to do with something much deeper. Something simple. Something fragile. Something he's been holding on to with both hands ever since his world fell apart. It had to do with peace. After everything he went through, the noise, the accusations, the trials, the pressure, Johnny has been focusing on himself in a way he never had time for before. Peace became more valuable than any paycheck. Stability, too. And more than anything, freedom. Freedom from chaos, freedom from old wounds, freedom from situations that make life heavier instead of lighter. And this new version of Johnny is very different from the Johnny people think they know. People close to him say he's extremely selective now. Not because he's arrogant. Not because he thinks he's above Hollywood. Not because he wants to punish anyone. But because he's finally protecting his energy. He's finally choosing what feels right for him, not what the industry expects. And let's be honest, we've all done something similar at some point. Maybe not on a $500 million scale, but still. We've all been in situations where someone says, you'd be crazy to say no, but deep down you know that saying yes would cost you your peace. And you walk away because your mental health matters more. Fans assumed that this mysterious $500 million deal meant he was returning to a very specific character, a certain pirate with a certain swagger, the one the world still quotes, still imitates, still loves. Social media exploded with rumors. People said, Disney begged him. Others said, he wants creative control. Some people even said, this is all part of a big comeback. But the truth might be much simpler. Johnny doesn't want to go back to anything that reminds him of old tension, old drama, or old battles. He doesn't want to revisit a past that still carries scars. And honestly, who can blame him? After you survive something painful, the last thing you want is to walk back into the same storm. Fans also assumed something else, that Johnny was done with Hollywood. That he quit. That he walked away forever. But that's not exactly true. He's working. He's creating. He's performing. He's traveling. He's painting. He's playing music. He's living. He's just choosing a different path this time. Instead of blockbuster pressure and giant franchises, he's choosing projects that make him feel alive. He's choosing personal work. Work he controls. Work he loves. You see it in his European film projects. You see it in his sold-out art tours around the world. You see it in his music, his photography, his slow, peaceful life in France. This is a man who has rebuilt joy, quietly, carefully, one day at a time. And when you rebuild your joy, money stops being the main attraction. Peace becomes the prize. Freedom becomes the priority. So suddenly, it makes sense why $500 million didn't change anything. Because money doesn't heal everything. Sometimes the real power comes from walking away. And that's exactly what people close to him say he did. There's another layer to this story, too. One that most people don't know. People around Johnny say he has a simple rule now. Something he repeats often. If it doesn't honor my peace, my art, or my people, I'm not doing it. And when you really think about that line, it explains everything he's been doing, and everything he's been avoiding. It's not just a quote. It's a boundary. A shield. A personal filter that helps him decide what deserves his time, energy, and creativity. For years, Johnny lived in a world where he constantly had to show up, perform, smile, travel, shoot, promote, prove, defend, and entertain. There were almost no pauses. No quiet moments. No time to simply breathe without worrying about what the industry expected from him next. But now, after everything he lost and everything he rebuilt, he finally understands what matters most. And it's not the money. It's not the fame. It's not the noise. It's the peace he found when the cameras weren't rolling. People close to him say he has become incredibly intentional. If something feels mentally draining, he steps away. If a project feels emotionally heavy, he thinks twice. And if someone in the industry approaches him with motives that don't align with loyalty or respect, he distances himself. He's not chasing opportunities anymore. He's protecting himself. His rule also shows how deeply he values the people around him. His circle is much smaller now. Just a few trusted friends, artists, musicians, and collaborators who stood by him when the world didn't. So when he says, my people, he means the ones who offered kindness during the most difficult period of his life. Those people matter more to him than any executive trying to negotiate a giant contract in a boardroom. And then there's, my art. That part says everything about who Johnny really is. He's always seen himself as an artist first, someone who paints, writes, creates, experiments, plays music, and expresses emotion without restrictions. Hollywood, at times, boxed him in. Expected the same roles, the same characters, the same version of him. But now, he wants to explore. Grow. Create freely without pressure. And that freedom only exists when he says no to things that don't align with who he is now. So when you hear that he walked away from $500 million, you begin to understand why. Because when someone finally finds peace after years of chaos, protecting it becomes priceless. Even his close friends have said things like, he's finally making choices with his heart, not the pressure around him. And that single sentence might explain more than all the rumors combined. But here's where the story gets even more interesting. Because while he turned down that enormous deal, insiders also say he said yes to something else. Something totally different. Something personal. Something unexpected. It's still quiet, still behind the scenes, but the whispers are getting louder. And if the rumors are true, this new project will finally make sense of everything, including why he walked away from the giant $500 million offer. But that's a story for another video. And trust me, you'll want to see that one when it drops. For now, here's the real question to think about. If you were in Johnny Depp's position, with your peace finally returning, your life finally calming down, your joy finally coming back, would you give that up for $500 million? Would you go back to old roles, old environments, old stress? Or would you choose peace, even if the entire world told you that you were crazy? Because at the end of the day, that's what this whole story is really about. It's about choosing yourself. Choosing your mental health. Choosing your happiness. Choosing the life you want, not the life people want from you. So what do you think? Would you walk away from $500 million? Would you choose peace over money like he did? What should Johnny do next? Dive deeper into art? Keep building his European film career? Return to music? Or surprise everyone with something completely new? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one. And I genuinely love seeing your thoughts and theories. And hey, if you enjoyed this breakdown, tap the like button. It helps more than you think. Drop a comment. And hit subscribe if you want more deep dives like this. There's another video waiting for you that connects directly to this story, and you'll find it right on your screen. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. And stay tuned, because the next chapter in Johnny's story is even crazier than this one.